what's up everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk coming at you on a Tuesday, right after a victory Sunday, a 49er loss Sunday. Everything is good. Thank you for watching, tuning into Rams Talk. For all of the new subscribers and all the legacy subscribers and everyone in between, thank you so much for being a part of the community, for all the likes, the comments, all the discussion, all showing up for the live stream after the game, the post-game live stream. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Before we get started here, let me just tell you that you can also find me on Instagram at LA Rams Talk, Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk, and on this app called Flick Chat app. Actually really cool. I started this group there, and there's all different kind of things, a set of polls and different articles. I put them in there, and also during the game, it's just like a Discord for chat. So a bunch of guys have jumped in there. I want to thank some of the guys that have been in there: Juan, Ray, Logan, Jonas, Derek, Roan, Emilio, Connor, just to name a few. A lot of people have been in there. We were just messaging during the game. It gives you stats. It's actually pretty cool. So I'm going to have a link in my description for that, but find me anywhere. I'll hit you up, and hit me up. I'll hit you up. Also, I'm on Fan to Fan Network, and I'm going to do a couple collabs this week. One with Niners All Day and another one with Nothing But Niners. Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun, because when we were live streaming after the game, the post-game live stream, I also had the Dolphins-Niners game on, and I was watching that while I was in the live stream, as were a bunch of people that were in the live stream chat as well. And it was a great hating the Niners in real time, watching them lose, seeing Jimmy G getting benched. Convo. That's kind of like what the live stream turned into, was just commenting on how amazing Fitzmagic was and this and that, and just enjoying the misery of the 49ers. So we got a big week coming up, but before we set our sights on the week ahead, let's look back at the week we just had. A lot of cool stuff. So just first things first on that game, things that came out. Injury news: Obo, sprained elbow, not expected to be a big deal. May or may not play this week coming up, but nothing where he's going to go on IR. At least that's the feeling that we get. There will be more updates tomorrow on Wednesday. Fuller had a stinger. He will most likely play this week coming up. Micah Kiser is progressing and looks like he will play in the week coming up. Troy Reader did a good job filling in for him, but there you go. The Rams have... and I don't know who said this, but I like the Rams are playing in the NFC Best, just swept the NFC Least. So that's a fun little play on words there. I like it, but love that sweep. Also love McVay is now 6-1 in East Coast early games. So like the 10 a.m. Pacific games, McVay is 6-1. So, I mean, I'll tip of the cap to him and Reggie Scott for getting the players ready to play, flying there the afternoon before, getting in at night, waking up, still keeping your circadian rhythm going, waking up, playing, getting out of Dodge. So that's feeling really good about that. That loss they had is Buffalo. They could have won that game. It would have been 7-0. Now, what I like, couple top-level notes, then I'm going to get into what I liked, what I didn't like, some PFF grades, this, that, and the other. But the thing I think that stands out to me, and I think all of you, is that this was a decisive win. I mean, other than when they came down and scored that touchdown in the first, like maybe their second drive, and took the lead actually because Sloman missed the extra point. Other than that, I mean, the Rams dominated this game from start to finish. It was domination. The Rams asserted their will, and I think coming off the Giants game, coming off the Buffalo Bills game, this was probably the easiest win of the season. It was the easiest win of the season. So that just felt good. It calmed my nerves. Really chilled me out. Another thing I really liked about this game, continued balance between the run and the pass. 30 pass attempts, 35 rush attempts. So actually, we ran the ball more. Weren't as successful on the ground if it wasn't for that Cam Akers 60-yarder or whatever, then or that huge play that he had. Then the running game was pretty dismal because we were not hitting it. Granted, it was sloppy, it's rainy, it's hard to get going, but I don't feel like our offensive line were opening that many holes. So anyway, love the balance. That's what we got to keep doing moving forward. That was great. Time of possession, we had 11 more minutes, 35-24. I mean, I go down the tail of the tape, but I mean, you guys know, I kind of get there indirectly on a couple of these points and what I liked and what I didn't like. Because, I mean, the Rams manhandled them. Because it's good to see Alex Smith back. I don't think anyone has a negative thing about Alex Smith other than he was originally a 49er. But, you know, that's the whole talk. When you turn on ESPN, you're looking for people to talk and say, how awesome the Rams were. They're just going to say, Alex Smith, 17 surgeries. Yes, that's a big deal. And yes, the Washington football team they're not the most talented team out there. But the Rams completely smoked them. Those are grown men. Aaron Donald was just plowing through 300-pound guys. Like, the Rams asserted themselves. So here we go. What I liked. Defense asserted itself. And a lot of what I'm going to say, I'm paraphrasing some of it from Jordan Rodriguez and Rich Hammond from The Athletic. They brought up a lot of good points, but there was a point pretty much where Aaron Donald had his first sack where he busted through the line right up the middle and threw Kyle Allen down. And pretty much from that point on, the defense pretty much knew they could do whatever they wanted. They were doing whatever. They had 8 sacks. When you have 8 sacks, you're asserting yourself. You're dominating. Okay, just to back up what I'm saying. Washington football team, 108 total yards. Yeah, they had more passing, more rushing, but the sacks negates some of that. So it brings it all back to 108 total yards. When's the last time in like McVay era? I mean, maybe that Arizona Cardinals game 2 years ago at the Coliseum when it started out with Sam Bradford and then I think they brought in Rosen at the end of the game. I think AD did he even have a sack in that game? Anyway, it kind of reminds me of that game where it was just complete domination. And the Washington football team averaged 2.2 yards per play, 1.8 yards per pass, 2.7 yards per run. Like 2.2 yards per play, that's like 8.6 yard, or like if you're going 3 downs, that's 6.6 yards and out. Like, that's horrid. Horrid. I know it's raining. I know you're on to Alex Smith, but you're still a professional football team. You still have Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson. I mean, yeah, their roster is pretty depleted, but I mean, still, the Rams contained the wide receivers for 5 catches to 27 yards. Yeah, because a lot of the passes were completed to McKissick and Antonio Gibson, and maybe tight end Logan Thomas or Tamarick Hemingway, I think. Anyways, just the Rams shut them down. And the defense was awesome, amazing. I don't have enough superlatives to say about the defense. I mean, I think this is actually, timing-wise, really good timing for the Rams defense because you're installing a new system. You've got some new players. I mean, everyone is now, got a lot of unproven guys. Micah Kiser, Obo, a lot of guys stepping in to these, Kenny Young, to the starting roles. Darius Williams, Troy Hill, first time with starting roles. And Jordan Fuller. And, so you think normally you'd have a preseason and kind of get it going, a couple games into the season. But I felt like this game was the game where it all came together and it clicked. And granted, it helps having that opponent do that. So I think going into the San Francisco game, they're more comfortable. Also having Jordan Fuller back in this game, I think, is a big deal with the communication. So I think this was a huge stepping stone for this defense, especially as we go into this middle stretch where we're playing San Francisco, Chicago, Miami, then Seattle, then Tampa Bay, then San Francisco. So this is going to be a crucial stretch, and I'm glad we kind of got our defense, it seems like, not ironed out, but like everyone's starting to click and gel. And the reason I say this is because in all of the football league, the Rams defense is 3rd in points per game allowed and 4th in yards per game allowed. When's the last time the Rams defense was a top 5 defense in those 2 metrics? Granted, we played against the NFC East. This will definitely change as the season progresses, but like, if you just own what you got to own, you know, that you if they're playing crappy and still winning these games, you know, we'd have something else to talk about. But they're doing what they're supposed to do. We all know they had 8 sacks in this game. They're tied for first in all of football with Pittsburgh with sacks. And I know that pass rush was one of the big question marks coming into the season. Mission accomplished so far. I mean, we still have other teams to play, better quarterbacks and offensive lines, but still, you know, I don't think anyone would have thought the Rams would have been tied for first in the NFL in sacks 5 games into the season with the loss of Fowler and Clay Matthews. So, you know, and sacks only tell part of the story, so let's not just get totally wrapped up in the sacks. But I mean, I think the last couple of weeks they've been bringing lots of pressure, a lot of blitzes. I wasn't able to watch the all 22. I tried to do that today, but the footage wasn't available yet. So I wasn't able to really check out who they were bringing and where they were lining everyone up. But AD has 7.5 sacks. So let's just say, you know, for argument's sake, the Rams are a third of the way through the season, right? If you extrapolate 7.5 out, you know, multiply it times 3, he's 22.5 sacks. His career high was 20.5. I don't think he's going to get 22.5. So I'd say he's, you know, he could definitely get to 15 to 18 sacks. If he has 18 sacks this year, after 12.5 last year, 20.5 the year before, from a defensive tackle, an interior defensive lineman, I mean, we already know he's the best defensive tackle of all time. It's just hands down. But, I mean, this really would elevate him into an all-time great regardless of position. And I can't understand for the life of me how he received only 1 vote last year for Defensive Player of the Year. That is just BS. You know, I think that goes to a lot of people looking at the Rams' record and not really watching their games. Because even though he had 12.5 sacks last year, he's just... Sacks don't always tell the story. You guys know he's double team, he's triple team, bringing in a tight end, bringing in a running back. Every offense the Rams face, number 1 goal, how do we stop Aaron Donald? How do we slow him down? Right? And for you know, like, there's just no way that you get 1 vote in a year like that. So, I mean, he's back up there. And he keeps his pace up. He's Defensive Player of the Year. And we'll see how it shakes out. But I'm really excited to see how he plays out and see if he can even break the record. I mean, it's possible. They play Seattle twice. That offensive line is crap. Arizona twice. That offensive line is crap. They play the Jets. Go time. So the Rams had 2 guys with at least 3 sacks. First time since 2013 when Robert Quinn, Medicine Man, and Chris Long had 3 sacks apiece. So him and Troy Reeder busting it. Troy Reeder received a very low PFF grade, and it was because of his coverage, because they have pass rush, run defense, and coverage grades. And they, you know, kind of combine them all and you get an overall. His overall was low because his pass coverage grade was terrible, and he was getting beat early in the game. And so what the Rams did is they made him what is called a green dog, which is kind of like a guy, and you'll see this if you watch the highlights on his sacks. He's kind of there right behind the defensive line, and when he sees a gap open up, he's not really told to go in and blitz, but when if a gap presents itself, if a lane presents itself, then he charges straight in, and that's what he did. And when he was talking after the game, he's like, "Oh God, the stuff that the defensive line was doing, really, that was really impressive." So kudos to the defensive coordinator Brandon Staley for realizing, oh, he's getting destroyed in coverage. Which, I mean, that Troy Reeder's not a coverage guy. We all know this. They all know this. He probably knows this. But they made the adjustment, bringing in safeties, hybrids, linebackers, and doing the coverages on Antonio Gibson and McKissick, and letting him kind of hang out, see an open lane, and attack. So you utilize. It's like what Andy Reid does. He remakes his whole offense based on the players he has in Mahomes and things like that. So that's what good coaches do in any sport. They take an inventory, they see who excels at what, put them in a position to succeed. So another thing I noticed, though, just watching the regular game back, was great tackling. So many open field one-on-one tackles that the Rams made, primarily from their cornerbacks, but Kenny Young was doing a good job. John Johnson was doing a good job. Darius Williams. Across the board, the tackling was on point. I mean, it was just from A to B, an amazing defensive effort. Loved it. Okay, so here we go. These are and Jalen Ramsey, covered a lot in the slot. And I think it's just rethinking. You have a player who can do so many things. And yes, you can just stick him on an island, the island of Jalen Ramsey. And he can just be out there on whoever. But if you just say, hey, you can play anywhere because you can, and you're still the best player, then you do that. If you put him on a tight end, you put him on a great slot receiver, you can move him anywhere. And I think Jalen Ramsey really likes that, how he's just so much more of a complete defensive back. Really awesome stuff here. So in terms of Pro Football Focus grades, take it with a grain of salt, but Darius Williams is our highest rated cornerback, 13th, and Jalen Ramsey is at 15th. Troy Hill's at 84th. Troy Hill played in 38 snaps. I think there was like 54 defensive snaps or something like that. He played in 38. David Long played in 15. I think it was because Troy Hill was still battling a little bit of an injury. Jordan Fuller is ranked 10th among safeties by Pro Football Focus. John Johnson's 19th. That would be a great combo. If we can keep JJ, if there's any way we can keep JJ, just imagine that. Our secondary is best in football. Like, it's the best in football. We have 3 guys, 2 starting cornerbacks, 2 starting safeties, all under 20. All with a top 20 PFF grade. Ridiculous. It's bananas. Then you've got Taylor Rapp. He's 55th by Pro Football Focus. So our third safety is 55th, which is still pretty good. It's still, within the top 2 of safeties in the league. If you have 2 safeties times 2, it's 64, and he's 55th, and he's our third guy. He played in 13 snaps. He was in nickel and in dime, kind of bringing him in there for Troy Reeder to take the Troy Reeder spot, although Troy Reeder was still playing in the game. Kenny Young, 61st. Micah Kiser, 64th in terms of linebackers. Now here we go with the edge rushers. Obo, my boy Obo. He's our highest rated edge rusher, outside linebacker by Pro Football Focus, 43rd. And he played in 14, he had 14 snaps. When he went out, Lewis got a lot of run. Good to see Terrell Lewis in there. He also had 14 snaps. And Leonard Floyd, 74 snaps. And I actually was watching a little bit of Leonard Floyd when I watched the game again. And yeah, he's not just always going in at the quarterback. He really is setting the edge. He's really trying to position the block, the outside block, so that the running back goes inside. So yeah, he's rated 74th, but if you filter to his coverage grade or his run defense grade, it's a lot better than his overall grade because of the passing thing. So pass rush. Then here's an interesting thing. Ebicom rated 107th by Pro Football Focus, which is terrible. 5 snaps. So essentially out of 54 defensive snaps, you had Lewis and Obo and Polite, who had 4 snaps and a sack. Way to go, Ja'Kai Polite. So 32 snaps between those 3 guys, 5 for Ebicom. So Ebicom's stock is going down. However, he probably will get some playing time if Obo can't go. So we're seeing the changing of the guard at the outside linebacker position. And if Obo can stay healthy, if he can be in there, then I really like it. He had that great, it was almost a sack when he wrapped up Kyle Allen, and then Donald came in and they called a roughing the passer. I'll get to that in a second. But Hollins had 11 snaps. Totally spaced on Hollins. So basically, yeah. Hollins had more snaps. Obo and Lewis all had more snaps than Ebicom. Changes in the air, my friends. Now, what I liked on the offensive side of the ball. Oh, by the way, if you're still watching this and you haven't subscribed, come on. What are you doing? That means you're a Rams fan. Boom, subscribe, notifications on, Rams talk all day. Anyways, what I liked on offense, clean pocket for Goff. Now, I mentioned that I didn't think the offensive line played particularly well in the run game. Don't let the running stats fool you. But the Goff was sacked one time. It was kind of on a blown block, but still, that was the thing. We were thinking going into this game, Havenstein versus Chase Young. Havenstein did a great job. Whitworth on Montez Sweat, great job. Interior, great job. Like that pass rush, Goff wasn't getting wrecked. The pressure wasn't coming in his face. They did a great job of creating that wall. Not so much opening lanes in the running game. It seemed like that's what the Washington football team wanted to do, is limit the running. Okay, we still dropped 129 on you. But, tip of the cap, what I liked was the offensive line in pass pro. Now, the Rams also, here, I'm going to come at you with some stats and some numbers. But the Rams open game with a touchdown. They've done it 4 out of 5 games this year, which is the best in the NFL. So you've seen this. They get the ball. First time they get the ball in the game, boom, 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 score. Efficient, touchdown. So let's see what they do against San Francisco. First time they get the ball. I'll talk about this in my next video, but let's see if they score first time they get the ball. Goff is a top 10 QB this year, but it's a little tricky. Very, gray area with Jared Goff. So going back into that first drive of the game, scoring a touchdown, he's 20 for 21 on completions on first drives to open a game. So he's super efficient. You know how many games, a couple games he started out like 10 for 10? I mean, that's pretty awesome. He's has the 4th highest grade by Pro Football Focus. So they've taken a lot of different metrics in there. He's 6th in passer rating, 10th in yards. Now this is the thing that I think is the biggest difference with Jared Goff, especially compared to last year. Last year, through 5 games, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a rushing touchdown. I didn't see how many fumbles, but 7 TDs, 7 interceptions. He wasn't playing great. This was after the Tampa Bay game. This is after they lost to Seattle on the Greg Zuerlein missed kick. And then going into the 6th game against San Francisco, where he passed for only 78 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So this year, interesting fact, going 6th game playing against San Francisco. Again, he'll have more than 78 yards. But this year, he has 8 touchdowns through the air and 3 interceptions. And one of those interceptions was BS. It's when he got hit in the face by Alden Smith. So really, he should have 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and he has 2 rushing touchdowns. So far, this Goff is way better, way more efficient, not making costly mistakes and turnovers. And that's what you need. That's what the Rams need. They just limit the mistakes. Here's the interesting thing. This was brought to me by Jordan Rodriguez again, and she was saying that that Jared Goff, we're all talking about explosive plays. Why aren't they going all over the top? Well, the Rams view explosive plays as yard after the catch, yak. So you saw it with Gerald Everett, yards after the catch. You see Cooper Kupp catches the ball, touchdown. Robert Woods catches the ball, runs a long way for a touchdown. That's how the Rams view explosive plays right now. They're looking at it like we don't need to air it out if it's not there, because we can put our guys in position to make explosive plays after they catch the ball. So that's what they're doing. But it's also one of these things. It's this ultimate chess game in the NFL. They're putting all this stuff on tape, and the teams will start to play. They have the same access to the same advanced metrics and the same scouting reports, and they're looking at all the same stuff, and they will start adjusting at how they play the Rams. And then the Rams, I think, mid-season are going to open it up and look like Rams of old. Just a thought. Anyways, Jared Goff so far has 6.2 intended air yards per throw, with 4 completed air yards per pass. So essentially, he's throwing the ball through the air on average 4 yards, right? But then he's also getting 7 yak yards per completion. So essentially, whenever he completes a pass that goes 4 yards, he's getting 7 yards tacked on by what the receiver, or the tight end, or the running back is doing. So if you look at all of his yards, out of all his 1,372 total yards, 768 of those yards are yards after the catch. So passes to the running backs, which they didn't do a lot last year. All these passes that kind of go a little horizontal, and then you see these guys breaking tackles and taking things to the house and stuff like that. That is how they're playing. They're not going over the top. So when you see this play to Robert Woods, which was awesome, that's because that was there, right? I think that they're just, and I think this is what Sean McVay is talking about sometimes, they're doing this so that the second half of the season is airtime. And I think, don't want to let all the cat out of the bag. That's what they did against the Giants. They want to be a little more vanilla, because when they get to the meat of it, when they get to NFC West, when they get to these big games, you want to surprise people. So that's my take. I think that you can look at explosive plays two ways: yard after the catch or through the air. But right now the Rams are going yard after the catch, and hey, it's working, right? Havenstein, like I said before, Havenstein was great against Chase Young, but also when Goff was hit and he was sacked and he fumbled, Havenstein, the ball was on the ground, and a Washington guy was like kind of grabbing it, and Havenstein ripped it out and held onto it. Huge play. If he doesn't do that, Washington gets the ball, kills momentum. Gerald Everett, awesome game by Gerald Everett. Yards after the catch. And here's Gerald Everett coming alive. So the Rams just have so many guys and so many ways to beat a team, and you just never know. They have them lining up outside, so you just never know. The Rams have so many different looks. They can be so multiple. It's amazing. Hendo and Akers, right? So for the most part of the game, the run game wasn't getting anything going, but I thought Henderson actually had a really good game. He didn't have any running lanes, and catching that ball in the Texas route, he kind of almost dropped it because it's raining. But Hendo scored 2 touchdowns. He's the number 1 rated running back by Pro Football Focus. Kind of weird, huh? Even though he had what seemed to be a down game. They averaged 3.7 yards per carry, and would have been less if Cam Akers hadn't bounced out on that and been chased down by Montez Sweat. But, I think you saw with Cam Akers what he can be, and what he is a tackle breaker. And I always feel like Cam Akers, on some of his good runs that he's had this year, he kind of runs into the line, nothing's there, and he bounces it out. Cam Akers, and Sean McVay said he's going to get more carries in the next game against San Francisco. I feel like we're going to start seeing the Cam Akers ascension and the Darrell Henderson, not so much decline, but just secondary option, and a little less Malcolm Brown, unless the pass rush is crazy and they need to get him in there for pass blocking. So, Cam Akers trending up for me. Darrell Henderson still had a great game. Hendo has 4 touchdowns this year, something like that. 5? I don't know. 4. Anyway, yeah. Darrell Henderson. No, he has 5. Gosh, spacing out on the Henderson touchdowns. But I like them both. I'm very happy with their running game, and I can't wait to see next week when we kind of have all of our guys fully healthy, ready to rock. Rams are 3 out of 4 in the red zone. Good stuff. I love it. I'll take it. What I didn't like in this game was that the Washington football team, so there were a couple penalties. The Rams were penalized 5 times for 60 yards. One of them was on the 3rd down when, like I said, Aaron Donald ran into Kyle Allen, and he was trying to get out of the way, but his hand hit Kyle Allen in the face. Come on. It is still football. You're still playing a contact sport. That was not a malicious thing. I know it's in real time and the refs aren't reviewing it, but if it wasn't for that, the Washington football team does not score a touchdown in this game. And if it wasn't for the other thing I didn't like, a Goff interception with 55 seconds to go in the first half on a 3rd and 7 from the Rams 39, if that doesn't happen, they don't get a field goal. So this game really should have been a shutout. And the Rams could have scored more points. But in that situation, you're on your 39, it's raining, 55 seconds to go, just run it out. It's like when Cooper Kupp tried to make something out of nothing on that punt against Philly. Come on, guys. The Ramsey hit on Allen, I totally get that. But when both players lower their head, what are you supposed to do as a defender? The tie will always go to the quarterback, right? But I don't think anyone watching that game, no matter if you're a Washington fan, was like, well, he was just trying to get out of bounds. Like, he lowered his helmet. Be a QB. Just run out of bounds. Come on. I didn't really like that call, but I get it. And the Rams' third down efficiency 6 for 15. They're actually fifth in the NFL with 49%. I mean, this isn't that far off from 49%. But I feel like they could have been a little better. And then Sam Sloman, I feel like he's got 3 more games. And if he's missing extra points, and the reason why he's not out there kicking field goals from any long distance is that Sean McVay doesn't feel comfortable with that. So that's going to be interesting to watch and see how Sam Sloman plays out. Because, I mean, ideally he'd have 4 games in a training camp or preseason, and a couple games in the season, but he doesn't have that. He's a rookie. So, I don't hate Sloman like a lot of people, but he needs to just make the easy things. I think that's what it is. If he's missing 50-yarders in the wind, okay. That's okay. But if you're missing extra points, if you're one in SoFi, he can't. In that extra point he missed, he shanked it. Like, that wasn't even one that just kind of like went and then just curved right at the end. You're like, ooh, close. Yeah, that kick was terrible. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up real quick. PFF grades, offensive line, Whitworth tied for first. Havenstein 26th. Blythe 11th. David Edwards slipping down to 23rd and Corbett at 27th. Edwards and Havenstein had the biggest drop after this game, and I don't know, maybe it was their pass blocking their run blocking, because their pass blocking was great. I have a feeling it was their run blocking. Goff, like I said, is 4th. Kupp is 9th. Woods is 43rd. Hendo is 1st, like I said. Gerald Everett is 12th. Higbee's 23rd. And even though Higbee had 56 snaps to Gerald Everett's 30. Reynolds is 49th. Reynolds had 49 snaps. Van Jefferson had 18. And I almost feel like, first of all, Josh Reynolds appreciation. Sticky hands. I like Josh Reynolds. I think we all got caught up in the Van Jefferson rookie shiny thing. He'll be great. Maybe second half of the season they'll start giving him more looks. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you. I mean, I'm over 30 minutes right now, so it took a while. But anyways, let me know what you think about this game. I think a lot of people already did in the live stream, but let me know what you think about this game, the explosive plays, the defense, and moving on to the second half, or not second half, but the second 2/3 of the season. Find me on Flick Chat app, Instagram, Real LA Rams Talk, or LA Rams Talk, Twitter, Real LA Rams Talk, Fan to Fan Network, and love to hear from you. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Love the Rams community, love Rams Talk, love the Rams. So happy the 49ers lost 2-3. Oh, so amazing. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Rams. Wow, on a roll. On a roll.